Tell us your name.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee.
We just hit a certain moment in history where people were looking for that kind of hero.
The truth, in fact, is we were just at the cusp of that fame when he passed away.
We're really getting into this guy, and all of a sudden he's gone. The next question is, can we find another Bruce Lee?
We want Bruce Lee's movie. Impossible. He died. Yeah, but we still want Bruce Lee's movie, man.
They would go to people in the martial arts schools, the gymnasiums and so forth. Hey, anybody look like Bruce Lee? Anybody who's good?
I didn't know at the time he was a real person because I'd see other people playing Bruce Lee.
And they give name called Bruce Lee.
Me?
He's playing Bruce Lee. I looked down and said, well, if I really stretch my imagination a little bit, yeah.
Dragon Lee, who is this Bruce Lee times 10, this gigantic muscular guy.
You are the famous Bruce? Yes, I'm Bruce.
Hello. My name's Bruce Lee.
Kind of looks a bit like Bruce Lee. You know, give him a pair of big sunglasses and a bowl haircut and we can turn him into it.
You're looking for me?
Just when you thought you had seen all of his films, he's back.
Get him!
Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee.
Bruce Tai.
Bronson Lee.
Bruce Lowe.
Bruce Lee 我都話啦，個窮慣啊嘛，已經大家都搶錢咁。
A good crew could shoot a complete film in 15 days.
功夫片咧實牙實齒啊咁樣就一路下就貼下嚟。
It was tough.
Oh, many people get hurt.
我唔係講話呢部電影，我就係李小龍。
呢個係真係功夫嚟嘅。We were constantly successful with these pictures.
First kind of wave of these films pivoted around Bruce Lee's death.
I'll have to find out if there was some foul play, and if there was, I'll avenge.
People wanted more. There was no video at the time. Films like this weren't going to appear on TV for years.
The other was sequels and prequels and pseudo spin-offs. What if he had lived and he had played Indiana Jones? We stick him in New Guinea and you got Bruce Lee in New Guinea.
這個跟超又不一樣。
Crazy fun.
功夫公司。
So you're Bruce Lee?
Yes.
我希望我可以做返自己。
It was the golden time for the filmmaking.
Cut!
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. What's that? Woo. We do the thumb. Got to do the thumb now. What is going on?
There we go.
That's right. What's going on? It's your boy Preston. That's right. PhatSamuraiGuy hanging out with two legends today. You know them. You love them. The master of remaster. Duran Duran. That's right. Duran Duran is here. Hold on. We got to represent the shirt now. Let me go. Let me blow it up now.
Oh, Frank just went last night to the concert.
I was at the concert last night, baby. Represent the concert. That's right. Representing good music.
Yep.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have you here. Frank Djeng, y'all know him. He's a regular here. It's his channel too by now. We share the channel of badassity. But speaking of badassity, holy moly guacamole. Here he is. He's done it all, folks. Actor, martial artist, director, writer, Michael Worth. Welcome to the channel, brother.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, man.
I've been trying for years.
Yeah, he's trying for years.
Frank keeps telling me you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. Then finally, okay, Grasshopper, it's time for you to.
No, it's my ego.
On the show.
My ego. No.
Yeah.
There can only be one legend on Phat Samurai's channel.
That's it. One legend.
Oh my goodness, but it's great having you here, man. It's great to meet you finally in person. I've enjoyed your work over the years, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to have some fun. But I had to start the show off right. I got to get the right tone of badassity with the enter of Clones of Bruce. I fucked it up.
That's okay. Not over. NG.
Not over. All right. Enter the Clones of Bruce documentary trailer. Had to kick it off right. Oh yeah. That's how we roll. Got to set the tone. But we're going to get into that a little bit later and a little bit of behind the scenes. I can't wait to hear you and Frank's stories behind the scenes. The creation of the documentary that's taken over the world.
7 years in the making.
It is taking over the world.
Getting pretty close.
Yes. And, I'm so happy. Congratulations on you guys' success with this.
Thank you.
And I'm dying to see it. I'm dying to see it.
We should have had you see it first. Yeah. So
Oh no, it's all good because I've seen a few clips when me and Frank hung out at Comic-Con, and I'm going to show a few clips just for you, Michael, and the audience watching right now.
All right.
So that way you can hear some of the reactions because they enjoyed the trailer and the clips that Frank shared. So you're going to enjoy that, Michael.
Oh, nice.
Let's say what's up to the chat right now, baby. That's right. We got a Chong here. The Best of the Best is one of the greatest tournament fight movies ever. Everyone's saying hello here. Brandon throwing it up, saying hello. He's already like, hey, you got to talk about how's it working with Stephen Vincent Lee, Ron Yuan, Andy Chang, Shane Lacey, and Lorenzo Lamas.
Some of the oldies but goodies, yeah.
Yeah, we got all the questions right here. Oh yeah, you got Shin Batman. It's called To Be the Best that Michael Worth worked on with Martin Cole from Cobra Kai. Look at that. We got fans correcting other fans. There we go. But hey, it's all love here. We're having a blast here. We got Fist of Iron is my favorite Michael Worth film next to Street Crimes. Look at that. Yes.
Oh boy, yeah.
Got some hardcore fans.
Classics, two classics.
Yeah, fans of Bruce Lee movies. That's right. Oh yeah, and Frank Djeng is the GOAT. He's the GOAT. That's right. But yeah, before we get to clones, let's have a little bit of fun here. Let's go back in time, baby. Oh yeah. We're gonna rewind. Like I had to rewind my botch earlier in the intro of the video. Michael, hey. How did you get in martial arts, brother? What was your inspiration? Like you saw some movies. I know that was half of it.
Well, yeah, that was part of it. I mean, I did, as I've noted before, that I went to Enter the Dragon thinking it was a monster movie because, and halfway through it, I turned to the person who had taken my brother and I was like, when's it going to enter the dragon? But by the time I got out of it, I was like completely enamored with Bruce Lee. And that was, that sort of started that journey. But then it was school. It was third grade. I used to get beat up all the time. And it was tough, man. It was a rough time. And I started taking martial arts. And I started when I was 10 and never looked back.
Look at that. Copy that. That. Got some old photos here. Boom.
Oh, yes.
Who's that young, handsome guy right there?
Yeah, that's right. Who is that? The handsome guy is Master Chang. He was my first official Sifu. And
nice.
Northern Shaolin, and I just went back to their 50th anniversary of when their school started. I was just there a couple months ago, so I got a chance to see everybody. It was great.
Awesome. I see you competed as well here.
Oh yes, there we go. There's a little karate tournament. That was a karate tournament. I've done a bunch of taekwondo tournaments too, but we have the vests on in those. But yeah, that was I think that was up in San Jose. That one, in fact, Bill Wallace would eventually ref one of my fights at that. I think it was that tournament there.
Copy that.
People know Bill Wallace, Bill Superfoot Wallace. People might know him from the kick. There he is. Yep, there you go. Yeah. He was one of my idols.
Yeah, that guy's still a legend.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm watching videos of that guy train and teach people now. He's still got it. He's still agile. He's still fast. He's still great.
Good. Force of one. Like Chuck Norris.
Were you while training? Were you hearing "You're the Best Around" song in your head? Was that going on?
That was a great one. I think. There was a couple. I think I was kind of in Hawaii 5-0 at that time too. I remember.
Yeah, copy that. So, what made you get the filmmaking bug?
Well, besides kung fu movies, just watching Ray Harryhausen movies. If anybody knows who Ray Harryhausen was, he was a stop motion animator. Yeah, okay, good. You know who you guys know at least. And he did films like The Seven Voyages of Sinbad, 20 Million Miles to Earth. Of course, worked with Willis O'Brien, who did the original King Kong. And that's what I wanted to do originally. I wanted to do stop motion stuff. So I bought a Super 8 camera when I was around the same time I started doing martial arts, and I started shooting little short films. And I'd buy these Godzilla toys I'd get in Japantown, which is in San Francisco, and they would cost $3 to $5. And now they're all selling for anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a piece. But I unfortunately was blowing them up and burning them and doing all kinds of things to make them, have a good movie. So, but I do everything to have a good movie. So there you go.
Copy that. And speaking of good movies, how was it working with Matthias Hughes, man? Look at that cover.
Funny thing about Batista, I'd never met him before I did that movie. And I remember when they said, "Oh, you're going to be fighting with Batista." I went, "That guy looks like he's a real jerk. He just looks like he's going to be an a-hole, you know." I remember, and then he came on the set and he was the nicest guy anybody's ever met. He was just like, ooh, I got an idea for a fight. I got an idea for, you know, like he was like jumping like a little kid. He was great. I loved working with him.
Yeah, I spoke to
Jones
him.
And Eric Lee.
Yeah, I spoke to Matthias a few times, and through Facebook Messenger, and I showed my wife who he is, and I said, listen to his voice. That's him. He's a sweetheart. Yeah. She was like, wow. But yeah, I love that guy. And Acapulco Heat.
Wow.
Yeah, 22 episodes, man. How was that experience? Is it a huge difference between television and films?
Yeah, well, it was 22 episodes for the first season. The second season was 26 episodes, I think. Is it a huge difference? Well, in some ways, there's definitely a sort of mechanicalness to it in some ways, you know, especially the first season, because they were so restricted by the censorship stuff they had to deal with Canada, I think it was, in the UK, which were some of their big buyers. So if you watch the first season of Acapulco Heat, I can't kick anybody in the head. There's a reason why I'm not kicking people in the head. It's not because I couldn't stretch or anything. It was just because they said you can't do it. By the second season, they were allowing me to do it, so I was doing it all the time.
Nice. There you go. All right.
But it was fun. It was you're in Mexico for 6 months, and
yeah,
with a bunch of ugly people. It's great.
Copy that. This project right here is Jeff, martial artist.
Is what's that? Oh, Langton. I mean, I'm thinking Langton. I'm thinking Final Impact. Jeff Fahey. No, he's not really a martial artist, but Jeff is a great guy. You know, I've used him in a couple of movies, but that's not him flying upside down. That's Dan Southworth right there.
Yeah, I just saw him on the cover holding the sword. I was like, oh, there's Jeff. I didn't know if Jeff knew martial arts. I was like, we gave him a sword and just had him play with it a little bit. Okay, it's having fun here. How was this project? And Lorenzo Lamas was a part of this as well.
That was a very interesting movie. It was originally called Killing Cupid when I wrote the script. It was the first time I directed anything. And the reason I took it on, we made that entire movie with 16 millimeter short ends. A short end is basically when somebody shoots on 16 millimeter and then there's a little bit of film left and they send it back. So all we did was the producer gave us a stack of those. He said, here's, it was about 50 grand. He go out and make me a movie with, and I said, okay. So I got Lorenzo, I got Jeff, I slipped him a few bucks, brought him in for a couple of days. I just said, I'm going to go crazy with this. I'm just going to write something that is, I'm either going to fall hard on my face or it's going to be the most, insanely creative thing. I mean, of course, it was about 6 months, I think, before Kill Bill came out, maybe a year or 6 months before. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it was a loony movie. It was fun. It was great to make, very experimental. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't, but it was, doing movies like that, guerrilla style, not improvisationally, because it was definitely a script, but it was, sometimes plan A doesn't work, so you got to go with plan B, and there was a lot of plan Bs and plan Cs on that one.
Copy that. Eric says, Michael,
but you know what?
Oh,
let me just say before you move on.
Sure.
The other great thing about that movie, to talk about Bruceploitation, which we're going to tie into later, I actually put in Bruceploitation into that movie. Rance Howard plays the owner of a motel. Rance Howard's Ron Howard's and Clint Howard's father, who I did a number of movies with. And he runs a motel, but he's obsessed with Dragon Lee, and he's watching the real Bruce Lee in the movie. So if you watch the movie, there's a scene where he goes on a monologue talking about how great Dragon Lee is, just so you know how long I've been trying to pull this stuff into the contemporary.
Wow. Yeah. That's cool, man. That's awesome. Shin here says, I have Killing Cupid on DVD. Good flick.
It made it to DVD. Look at that. I don't think it actually got released in the U.S., or maybe it did.
Yeah, copy that. Eric says that, Michael, I copied your movements as a child watching Acapulco Heat, Final Impact, and Fist of Iron. Thank you, sir, for the inspiration. Look at that.
And is he not injured? Thank you. That was very kind. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric, for that. And you're all over the place, especially doing stunts as well. I see you here with stunt action director on Batman Forever, hanging out with Don the Dragon Wilson right here. How was that?
I had gone in through Jerry Poteet, who was one of Bruce Lee's original students, who was connected with Mally Finn. Mally Finn was the casting director, and I went in and read for Robin. And at this point, they hadn't had Chris O'Donnell yet. In fact, had just tried to get DiCaprio, and he had done the Basketball Diaries, but he was like not interested.
Right.
So they did this big casting call. I came in, I read a bunch of times, met with Joel, and actually screen tested. It was me and 3 other guys, and it was the only ones that screen tested. And then they, went with Chris, and they brought me back in, and Don and I, and Ron Ewan's in there, and there's a couple people in there that were under all that makeup.
Yeah, Ron, that's another legend right there. But hey,
yeah,
Ron, legends. Final
there
Impact, man. Who's that young guy right there? Look at that.
Man, that was
how was this experience, man?
That was a great experience because the Final Impact was the first leading role I'd ever had. And up to that point, I'd been doing a lot of bit roles, and I had this thing I said to myself, I said, if I can do one project in this business where if you cut me out of it, you will notice something's wrong with the movie, I said, then I will feel successful. And so that was really the next thing that came along. And they were actually considering Don the Dragon Wilson for that one, as a matter of fact, because they had just done Ring of Fire with him.
Yeah.
And it was great because it was my first time as going to Vegas. It was my first time in a leading role. So it was like, as an actor, it was perfect because there was all this firsts for the character. I was playing this guy, Danny, in the story, and just being able to be like, oh, everywhere I went, wow, this is so I could just kind of convey that through the through the movie. But it was great. Lorenzo became a good friend of mine, and Kathleen, his wife, and Jeff Langton, and there's a number of people in that movie that just really
Jeff's awesome. He's awesome
Camacho,
too. Yeah, Art Camacho's great too. I feel like Lorenzo's underrated martial arts star, man.
Yeah, and Lorenzo,
martial artist. Yeah.
He in fact, I was going to say, I was asked this once back then, and I remember somebody said, who do you think's one of the tougher martial arts guys that you've worked with? And I said, Lorenzo. I sparred with Lorenzo a number of times. And in fact, there's a scene in the movie where he and I are sparring on top of the Sands Hotel, and we were getting ready to do it, and it was getting late, and Art was going to, or Eric Lee and Art were going to, because they were both being choreographers, we're going to choreograph. I said, let's not choreograph. Let's just you and I spar. And he's like, yeah, let's spar. So we just we sparred. And then what they did was, when they found something in the sparring that they liked, we came in for a couple inserts and picked it up, so they get a different angle. But there's a scene where he kicks me in the chest and I hit the ground, and it was totally real. So we just went through. It was great.
Yeah, copy that. There you go. So if anyone out there watching was if you guys are curious, now Mr. Lorenzo's the real deal, baby.
I'm trying to get, and I know you're going to talk about it later, but I want to bring Lorenzo back for this project that we're trying to pull back, because I got a part for him, and I think it would be great.
Oh, nice. I'm excited for that. But I love this. Somebody posted this. And I was like, look at I miss these badass, awesome covers. These movie posters. I mean, dude. I mean, look at it. To be the best. Look at that. I mean, the poster artwork today, it's not the same. It is just not the same.
And I love the fact they have the R rating around the front, so these are badass movies.
There you go. Yeah, I miss this. I miss this era. I really do of poster artwork. I really do miss that era, man. A lot of posters today are kind of generic and vanilla. But this next. But go ahead.
I was going to say PM and Roger Corman, for those, that probably are familiar with it back then, which was part of my film school. What I didn't learn from watching these movies as a kid and experimenting on Super 8 was all learned at PM Entertainment. I mean, I watched these guys shoot movies, which at the time I thought was like going to being Warner Brothers. It was like, wow, look at this big camera, look at this. But you started to realize how minimal everything was. When we did Final Impact, there was a caravan of about 5 vehicles that drove out to Vegas, and as we drove to Vegas, we would pull over and shoot a couple scenes on the way, shoot a couple scenes on the way. I mean, it was just done. That was the way it was done, but it was great. It was a great way to learn,
Yeah, copy that. But yeah, this will always be dear to my heart, poster artwork like this. But I have to show this, because this is one of the greatest posters I've ever seen in my life. What? This is one of the greatest posters ever.
Let me tell you, the guys in Ghana, the Ghana movie posters in themselves are so interesting. They were a country that obviously didn't do their own posters, so they would get these local artists who would pull out, rice flour sacks and put them out and paint posters for movies. Oftentimes they wouldn't even know, they wouldn't have a photo or anything. They just tell them what the movie was about.
Yeah.
And they would paint them, but they're all one of a kind. And so I started collecting a few of them here and there. I'd find some movie, and I found a couple of my movies. And in fact, Dolph Lundgren has a poster from Rocky IV up in his house. It's a giant Ghana poster from Rocky IV with him. It looks crazy, you know. But those posters are insane. Yeah, they're great.
I love it. I had to show it here. You know how Samurai Guy is. We gotta have fun here on the show. I love it. I love it. There needs to be like an art book collection with all of them in there.
There is a couple of books. I forget, it's called Bloody something. There's 2 books that came out, but I tell anybody that's interested, if one day this stuff will be worth a lot. They're already turning them around. You know, there's some great ones I've been trying to track down and buy from these collectors, but they're bizarre, but they're wonderful. And yeah, you're right. They're fun to look at.
Is there something I can order on Amazon? The book collection of the posters?
Yeah, there's actually. Well, I'll tell you, there's the books you can find on Amazon. I'm sorry, blanking on the name of the book because I have both of them. There's 2 of them. Yeah. But there's a place online you can look up called Deadly Prey, Prey. It's the names from an old 80s movie, an action movie. But
I love that. I love that movie.
This place is, I think, in Chicago. I bought a couple posters from them. They're great. They're one place to go to get them. But yeah, you just look them up.
Yeah, any movie out there where the hero rips off the arm or cuts off the arm of his opponent and then beats him to death with it. Hey, 5 out of 5 stars. But speaking of U.S. SEALs too, how was it working? They are there with Andy with some blonde. Is that a wig or is that really his hair?
No, he dyed his hair. Yeah, he dyed his hair.
Mr. Andy Djeng there, another legend there. How was it working? How was it working with Isaac Florentine?
Isaac was great. I had, when I went on that film, I had only seen one of Isaac's movies. It was his first one. It was called Desert Kickboxer. And I remember I went to the audition and I said, Mr. Florentine, and it was Isaac and Andy was in there, and I think the casting director was in there. And I said, I want to tell you, I'm a big fan of yours. I've seen Desert Kickboxer. He goes, oh, Michael, I've done better movies. But he is. We were talking about Matias being one of the nicest guys. He's definitely the nicest director. Let's just put it that way. He's one of he would be in the. I remember this one time we were shooting on the set, and there's all these people around, and we're getting ready to shoot. All of a sudden, you hear this sneeze, and everybody kind of stops for a second. And he goes, "Oh, sorry." He was apologizing for sneezing, but a great guy, a lot of fun working with him and Andy because they're very high energy. You know, it was, and they had 2 units going on U.S. SEALs too. So you'd have. Not the entire time, but we'd have Isaac shooting the first unit with all the dialogue, and Andy was often shooting the second unit, which is a bunch of the fight scenes. Even though Isaac was very involved with them, they would sometimes have their conference, and he would go off and shoot. And there's a scene in the movie where I'm having a conversation with Damien Chapa in a bar, and above that bar is another bar. And is a fight scene that we were shooting at the same time with me fighting Hakeem Alston, who's in the film. And so I was literally down talking to Damien, talk. They go, okay, go upstairs. And I run up the stairs, fight. Come back downstairs, talk. Run back upstairs. It was back and forth. So, I mean, it was I burned a lot of calories on that movie.
Copy that. Yeah, love Isaac. Love Isaac. I had him here on the channel. I got a chance to chat with him a couple years back.
Oh, did you? Great.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking over your IMDb page, man, you really it wasn't just action or martial arts or westerns. You kind of branched out in horror as well, and we love horror here as well on the channel, man. Action, martial arts, and horror. That's what we support here, man. That's how we roll.
That's great. Yeah. I love movies in general. I mean, I'm a big fan of everything: spaghetti westerns, Euro thrillers. You know, dramas, love stories. I still cry in movies, you know. If it's somebody getting their head cut off, I'll cry. No.
But speaking of horror, talk about this project right now.
Werewolves. Werewolves is an interesting movie. It is it's one of those movies, if you were to say pick a movie that never quite lived up to the expectation but has moments in it, I would pick that one. It has some effective moments in it, but it was also a movie that we were shooting. We had a 18-day shooting schedule, and we got to day 7, I guess. It was about a weekend, and all of a sudden they told me we're going to cut 3 days off. So it became a 15-day shoot halfway through it. And it was like the most complicated. I don't think I slept for 4 days trying to figure out how to get the rest of the movie done in that time.
Oh, wow.
But it was a lot of fun. The people on it were great.
Yeah.
You know, John Saxon, Tim Thomerson,
Oh,
Adrian
shit.
Adrian Barbeau, who's like the love of my life. She's the coolest ever. You know, my grandmother's in it. You know, again, Dan Southworth from U.S. Seals and Ghost Rock and Killing Cupid. Yeah, it had some great people in there, and you know, it was a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, it sounds like a fun watch for sure. But transcending genres here, what's Appleseed about?
Oh, nice.
Oh, well, thank you for mentioning Appleseed. This is it had a Showtime exclusive run, but we're just about to have a big Blu-ray release with a special edition. It's very close to my heart, this movie. Took me 10 years to get it made, and almost the entire time that was Rance on the cover there you saw. It's a road trip movie. I love road trip films. We were talking about movies that I like, and road trip movies like, you know, Emperor of the North and Scarecrow and Two Lane Blacktop. It goes on and on and on. I just love the cross the world journeys as a story vehicle, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this thing about this guy who's planning on going back to his hometown to rob his hometown bank because he's so pissed off at life. And on the way, he meets this old guy that you realize as the story progresses has just gotten out of prison for robbing a bank. So it's really a morality tale. And story. Shot it in Arizona and Kingman, Arizona, Sierra Vista, got all over the place out there. And then we went to Vermont and wrapped it up in Vermont with a really tiny crew, very PM-like. And we came back home, and you know, a month later, Rance passed away. It was his first starring role. It was the first time he and his son Clint played father and son. They'd done like 7 or 8 movies together, but another was father and son. So that was the first time, and it was just a magical movie that I love, you know. And so
when is this coming out on Blu-ray?
I think they're going to announce it. They're going to announce it in the next month. I think it comes out at the end of the year. So
all right,
December, but yeah.
That's Ron Howard's dad, by the way, in case those of you don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's got Adrian Barbeau in it as well. You know, Robbie Benson's in it. Robbie Benson, who I've owed to Billy Joe, is like one of my favorite movies as a kid, and having a chance to work with him was just phenomenal. So he was in Esther Anderson. It's got a great cast. You know, really great cast.
I'm gonna have to check it out for sure. But congratulations on getting that done, man. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I got to get a quick little segue, a little back to horror here.
Oh, please.
When Constantine came out, I was disappointed. When I first saw it in the theater, I was disappointed. I liked a few parts, but I was disappointed. And then out of nowhere, I rent this movie called Demon Hunter. And I enjoyed this so much more than Constantine. And you're involved with the action, some of the action direction in this, correct?
Yeah, I actually, believe it or not, that was Stephen J. Cannell's first feature film that he was pulling together. And I was trying to work with him on a project. I knew a guy who had written the script. And I thought, you know, this is a match made in heaven here. I think Steven's going to like the script. So I got the script from my friend, and I brought it to Steven. I said, this, I think, should be your film that you're looking to do. And he read it, and he loved it. So I said, all right. He goes, well, what's the deal? I go, well, you guys figure out the deal. I go, but I just want to direct all the action in second unit. And that's just because I wanted to start. I was trying to direct more and just trying to get that under my belt. And so that's what I ended up doing, is shooting all the fight scenes. And I think I play a cop in there. Did I play a cop? Yeah, they stuck me. And I got killed or beat up by Sean Patrick Flannery or something.
Yeah. No, Demon Hunter's legit. Chong's got that on DVD too. Look at that. People buying your work, man. Yeah, that's
Billy Drago. Yeah.
But I had to throw it in there because I enjoyed that movie a lot.
No, thank you. Appreciate that.
But this Western here was wild, man. You got Gary Busey, you got Peter Kwong, Michiko's in this. Man,
Michiko, yeah. Now that was another film that in its first incarnation, I loved the movie. It was a great experience. Again, we made that whole movie for less than $300,000.
Wow.
We shot it. It's all shot on 35 millimeter. I mean, this is before the digital era still at this point. Bernie Abramson, who's the Brat Pack photographer. He's the guy that shot all the stills. Every still you've seen from the Wild Bunch was his.
Wow.
And so he was our DP. And we shot, it was a humongous cast. I mean, gigantic cast. So it was like a real Yeah, it was a real learning curve for all of us. But the original version of the film ended up winning a bunch of film festivals, and then Lionsgate got it and they cut out about. So I was bringing this up because Michiko had a really much bigger part in the film. She's actually gets there's this whole thing with her being this Japanese geisha that comes in and has to fit in with the brothel girls, and it was a big part of the original story. But unfortunately, kind of pulled that part out.
Yeah, you answered my question I was going to ask. I was like, Michiko didn't fight. I was waiting for her to have a fight scene, but that's all good.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense now. But
yeah,
man, you were badass in this. Your move, and I was like, let's go. But yeah, I had to go back in time a little bit for everybody watching right now and talk a little bit. We don't spend too much time because really we could spend 3 hours or more talking about Michael's work because he did a lot. But we got to get to clones, man. So when did you and Frank combine powers?
Wow.
Where did that picture come from?
Combined Samurai Guy's got his waist. Combined powers, and we're like, we got to do this. Let's make this documentary. When did it start? When did you guys team up?
I'll start this off and then I'll let Frank finish it.
Okay.
It's I got Rick Myers had asked me because they were doing Severin Films was doing they found a bunch of these movie trailers to kung fu films buried in this Chinese restaurant in Canada, I think somewhere, right, Frank? I can't remember if that's where it was, but so they're going to do this compilation of all these kung fu movie trailers, and there was a handful of these Bruce Lee exploitation style movies that Rick just didn't really know much about. He was that's not his favorite area. So he reached out to me and he said, you want to come out and do this, and we'll sit, and when these films come up you can talk about it. So I went out we recorded this commentary, I think, in San Diego. Yeah, so went out there and I met, and that's where I met David Gregory, who's the co-founder of Severin Films. And when we were finished with the commentary, I said, David, I'm telling you, I've been a fan of these movies since I was a kid. Not just a fan, I'm legitimately probably the first collector of these movies. I was cutting out all the advertisements just on the Bruce Lee exploitation movies and making scrapbooks of them as a kid. I said, I'm telling you a whole story in here. There are people here that are just not getting their due, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he kind of listened to me and went, oh, that's kind of cool. I said, I just wanted to pitch it. I just was like, I didn't hear from him for maybe 10 months. I just was like, another one of those things that bit the dust. All of a sudden he calls me up and he's like, so you ready to go to Hong Kong with Frank and Jim, our photographer, our cameraman, and bring your camera gear with you, and we're going to go out to Hong Kong and start chasing these guys down. And a month later, we were all on the flights to Hong Kong and Taiwan and South Korea.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where I met Frank. I met Frank in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I met Michael for the first time in Hong Kong because I went there first because of the scheduling thing. I got to go and do Brucelloitation first, so I actually went there. On my own.
Yeah,
I have to find a local crew to videotape Brucelloitation because Michael and Jim and David weren't there yet. So and that was the first time I did interview. But let me just backtrack a little bit. So basically, Rick Myers suggested me to David Gregory, because David was asking, well, who do you think would be a good person to coordinate all this, to find these talents? And Rick just said, well, Frank's the guy, you have to get Frank. So that's how it all got started. And then, like Mike said, we arranged a trip and stuff. So we went to Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong. My first time doing a talent interview, artist interview, never done it before. And luckily, Brucelloitation was very graceful, very gracious. He talked for 3 hours. We were shooting this as his friend's wine cellar there. Not like Napa County wine cellar, but in Hong Kong, wine cellar basically like an office building, inside an office. So we went there, he shot an interview. It was great, and I enjoyed it. And I thought, wow, this is actually not too bad. Because, like I said, I've never done it before. And then the next day, Michael and Jim came. David still hasn't come yet. David came a day later after Michael and Jim. And then we went to shoot Yasuaki Kurata, and that's how it kind of get, we just started. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Yasuaki Kurata-san. So that was fun. We blew his fuse box.
Wait, what?
We blew his fuse box while we were setting up the camera because Hong Kong is 240 watts, right? US is 110. So I guess I forgot about it. So when we set up, we were setting it based on 110 watts, and it blew up when we started plugging in, turning shit on, and then the fuse box got blown. And then it was, oh shit, we just, Kurata-san's gonna be mad now. And so, but then, we were trying to fix it. Luckily we fixed it. But
Oh,
all through that time, Kurata was like cool as a cat. You're just
Yeah.
doing stretches on his pad and on his mat, and just doing his own shit. And then it turned out great. He understood Cantonese, so he said, "You can ask me in Cantonese. I just respond in Japanese." It was great.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, he's another legend that still moves just as fast and good today.
Mhm.
Still blowing me away.
He goes back to the early 70s where he was just, fully involved with these movies. Yeah. So back with Bruce Lee's time,
I mean, it's pretty much a given, like you said earlier, Michael, that we're all huge Bruce Lee fans.
Nice.
I mean, we're all fans. But what about the Bruceploitation genre, which wasn't even a genre yet, like you gravitated towards? Like you were like collecting them, like what was it about that genre?
Well, I think the thing about it is there's first off, there's at that time, as we talk about this in the documentary, but obviously people were fans of Bruce Lee, or at least curious about Bruce Lee, and wanted to, engage with him more, and cinematically anyways. And so these films, either the films themselves or sometimes just simply the advertising or what have you, were about trying to capitalize off of that. So that's sort of where they find their definition. And most people, like myself included, got sucked into that, thinking I'm about to go see a movie. The first one I ever saw was The Young Dragon, which is also known as Bruce's Deadly Fingers with Bruce Lee. And the poster says Bruce in his first film at the age of 18. And, you're like, okay, it's finally out of Hong Kong, blah. I mean, it's just the selling points on this poster are amazing. But I went in and I saw it, and I was about 10 minutes in. I was like, wait a minute. And I realized I'd been duped. But by the time I got out of the theater, I was like, that was kind of wild, I kind of like that fight scene at the end, and I would be asking these questions like, I wonder if Bruce Lee ever did a movie like that, if he would act like that, and so I just started getting pulled into this idea that even though I began to go to these movies understanding there was probably not going to be any Bruce Lee footage, maybe not, but I knew he wasn't going to be in them, but I wanted to go have that experience in a way, and it became a thing where it was a willing participant in the exploitation of Bruce Lee. And you're right, we called them fake Bruce Lee movies, or even Bruce Lee ripoff or Bruce Lee exploitation movies. There was an article written back in the early 80s actually about them in Martial Arts Movies magazine. I mean, it was become a thing at that point. Anyway, I mean, it was just that thing that I find that today you have an interesting core of people that like these movies. There are the people that don't like them and like them, right? Obviously, you get people that revere Bruce Lee so much that they just hate these movies because they're just disrespecting Bruce Lee in some fashion or another. But then there are those that like Bruce Lee, like myself. I love Bruce Lee, as a matter of fact, and but still love these movies because there's a certain experience of that Bruce Lee started that we're sort of finishing in a way through these conjectures of these movies that becomes a part of our own. And it's not all psychological like that. They're fun, they're goofy, there's good fight scenes, etc. Then there's the people that actually prefer these movies over Bruce Lee's movies. I mean, there are some people who really like, even Tarantino has said he likes Fist of Fury Part 2 much more than he likes Fist of Fury. So it's an interesting group of people that follow these films. But like Frank, and I have been involved with David and just in our own independent projects, the idea is movies are still, like them or love them or hate them or whatever, are still a part of Asian kung fu cinema history in a big way. A lot of people even working on these films are people like Yuen Woo-ping or whoever that would go off and do other things that they were much more well known for. So for me, it's just I have my own career as an actor and a director and a writer, etc. But it's like being able to finally sort of accidentally be doing all of these projects now, restoring these films, these documentaries. I have a book coming out, 2 books actually coming out that all
nice.
It's like my childhood. It's like paying paying like respects back to my childhood. The kid that would wait, find what was playing at the theater, skip school and go down to the Lux or go to the St. Francis or the Market Street Cinema or whatever and watch. So I don't know.
That's one thing that we try to emphasize in the documentary. Well, 2 things that we try to emphasize in the documentary. One, they're not really making fun of Bruce Lee for these films. They're trying to expand on the philosophy, the spirit of Bruce Lee. So these films were not made as it's not like Airplane made as a parody of disaster films and stuff. No, they were legitimately trying to kind of like carry on what Bruce Lee was trying to show in his film, the philosophy and the fight. And the second thing was really the fights are good. There's not like they're trying to make fun of. I mean, this is not Kentucky Fried Movie. Kentucky Fried Movie, that's a parody of Enter the Dragon. No, not here. I mean, even though these are not the real Bruce Lee, but the fights are good. They're really martial artists. They're finding martial artists to be the clones, and they're not like finding any actor. These people know they really had martial arts training.
Yeah. And not to mention, and Frank knows this because we all spend time with them, but Dragon Lee, Bruce Lee, all of these guys love Bruce Lee. I mean, like fall on their knees. He's the greatest. They don't even think they compare to him. They even talk about this, but they just trying to in some way, spiritually or otherwise, move it forward in some way. Right. And they really do. They feel that way. I know Dragon Lee
did it.
Specifically feels that. Bruce Lee has some regrets about it just because he wouldn't have done it the way that he was kind of pushed into it, and he talks about that in the documentary. But it all came from a love and a respect and trying to do Bruce Lee some sort of justice in their movies.
Yes.
Yeah. Copy that. I love how you said this is perfect. How you said Dragon Lee is Bruce Lee times 10. that perfectly suits him. That suits him, man. The way he acts and the way he fights, man. That's perfect. But yeah, before we're continuing with clones. I enjoy. I got to get this out of the way now. I enjoy both of you when you guys team up for audio commentary.
Oh,
man.
Thank you.
Like it's so good. You guys will learn. I mean, Samurai Guy, I got a lot of knowledge too, but these, there are levels. There are levels to the knowledge, and I enjoy and I learn a lot. And I recently watched New Fist of Fury, and I was listening to your guys' commentary, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know that. A lot of stuff happened. But after that, when you mentioned, Michael, during it, you both were talking about how Fist of Fury 2 came out pretty close when New Fist of Fury came out. Yeah. I was like, I don't remember. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen Fist of Fury 2. So it's been years. So I was like, I got to revisit that. So right after I got done watching New Fist of Fury, which because of your commentary, I've learned to appreciate a little bit more now. I used to hate with a passion. There was other low-way movies I like more with Jackie Chan. I used to hate New Fist of Fury, but I actually find it entertaining now.
And it's a legitimate sequel because
yeah.
Nora Mel, the character, that's the same character, Yeah.
It's entertaining to watch now for sure.
Right.
But when I watched right after that, I watched Fist of Fury 2 back to back, and I couldn't believe how much more I enjoyed Fist of Fury 2 with Bruce Lee as an overall movie experience than New Fist of Fury. I was surprised. I was like, man, like it's like you guys are both saying, like a lot of these Bruceploitation movies, they're legit in terms of martial arts action and story. Like they're really legit.
Yeah, and I think Lee So-Nam is somebody who one day I may write a book about myself. Just as a director, I find he's really underrated as one of the Hong Kong action directors. And I think Fist of Fury 2, which he directed, and where Lo Wei, Fist of Fury, Lo Wei's first that he did with Bruce Lee, to me is from a standpoint of cinema and craft and cinematography and lighting and pacing and
well made
is amazing. I mean, you can break down every scene in that film and find something amazing about it. But then he was hit or miss. Then he would go off and do something else, and you could argue New Fist of Fury is one of them, where he would, even Jackie Chan would say sometimes he'd walk off and he'd go, just you go ahead and finish shooting today. I mean, so he was sometimes there and sometimes not. Yeah. But Lee So-Nam was always very involved and he wanted to do the movie. And in fact, he even said at the time, I was like, can we make this movie? Are we okay? And they're like, yeah, we can do it. So, the regulations were a lot easier back then. It's not like we can go off and make Mission Impossible 8 by ourselves.
Yeah. And Enter the Game of Death was wild. I just recently rewatched that. A lot of it because of your documentary. I have a lot of friends, martial arts friends, that they're gravitating now. They're watching more Bruce Lee, watching more Dragon Lee movies. I mean, and me, I'm trying to catch up too because it's been so long.
Yeah.
So I'm rewatching a lot of movies.
I'm telling you, I have a podcast I do called The Clones Cast, and the intro that I wrote for it is that, because I always refer to him this way, this is the redheaded stepchild of the kung fu genre. It's like the little kids that was getting beat up and pushed out of the way. So it's like, great that they're getting some love. It's great because there's some reasons to go back. If we're, we do that with a lot of genres, right? It's where when you have history between you and the production, there is a certain respect you can throw at them and a certain appreciation you can throw at movies sometimes that maybe at the time when they were trying to pull the money out of you by fooling you, you would not have given them. But I'm glad people are going back, because there's a number of them, like The Dragon, the Hero is one of my favorites, that people can go back and get a chance to watch.
And Michael brought up a good point about, being bullied, harassed as a kid, because of the 4 main clones that we interview, 3 of them decided to learn Kung Fu because of either being bullied. Bruce Liang was bullied at school. Bruce Lee was bullied at school. And Bruce Lee learned Kung Fu to kind of defend himself because, they were getting harassed or oppressed back in Burma. And that's I mean, like, they have their reasons for learning Kung Fu, and it's mainly because they're being socially harassed or bullied, at school.
Yeah.
So that, like, that's why, again, that's why they learn Kung Fu. And so, and when you see them doing these films, like I said before, these are legitimate fights that they're doing,
Yeah, for sure. Frank, what's going on here in this photo? I got Mars, man.
This was lucky. We were so lucky.
Yeah.
First of all, one thing I want to quickly point out, all the people that we interview in Hong Kong, particularly, we found them pretty much at the last minute, because you cannot schedule them in advance most of the time, because they're busy, they work, they're scheduling stuff, they go to China and work. So it really depends on your luck to find the people that you want to interview. Most of these talents, we found them the day before, like David Chang. We were really lucky with David Chang. David Chang just said, "Oh, I'm free tomorrow. You want to do it tomorrow?" And then that's how we got David Chang. So in the case of Mars, we got Mars. Yeah, we got Mars. And I guess, of course, some of the interview subjects, obviously they don't know who we are. So sometimes they say, "Well, can I bring a friend?" Stuff. I mean, almost like to sort of make sure that we're not con man or whatever, like we're not trying to cheat them out or whatever. So he brought Philip Ko. We didn't know in advance that Philip Ko was going to be there, I think.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure, because we only found Mars, I believe.
And they hadn't even seen each other in a long time.
Yeah, and they haven't seen each other in a long time. So I think what happened was Mars probably said, "Hey, Philip, you want to come and get an interview? Maybe, you get some money out of it." I mean, according to Mars, and Mars and Philip were good friends. And so, when we went to see Mars, Philip was there. We were pleasantly surprised, because he was in all these independent Kung Fu films, and all that stuff. And so, and then but at that time, nobody knew that he was actually dying from cancer. The interview was done about 4 months before he passed away. He didn't even tell his family until like the day he died. I think only his son knew that he had cancer. So we were surprised to see him kind of frail and stuff. But then he was in great spirit. He was funny. He talked about his experiences. So that was a great interview, and we'd have to do it we did it outdoor. That was like of the interview that we did in Hong Kong, that was the only outdoor interview that we did, and it turned out great.
Nice.
Mars even gave us a ride back to Kowloon afterwards.
Yeah. It was great, because the two of them started reminiscing about their films, like, because they were also extras on Enter the Dragon, Mars gets killed by Bolo, but Philip Ko was floating around in the back too. So they had these, but they're both in The Dragon, the Hero. I mean, they've done a number of films together, and it was just great to see this moment that, in hindsight, with Philip passing away, and they probably didn't even see each other again, that they just had that one last moment and we got it on film, and it was just so. It's very sweet and endearing to watch, and it's a great bit in the doc.
And also, the one thing that I really, what was really gratifying for me was once the talent realizes that we knew our shit, they open up.
That's right.
They speak up. They know that we're not there to just praise them. Like, we're not just typical Hong Kong interview people that just, like, the moment they start talking, they praise you to death about, I love you, this, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, we were serious. We knew our shit. Michael knows his film. David knows our film. I mean, I knew a little bit about them. So, but yeah, I mean, once we started asking questions and then pointing out all these films, like Bruce said, "Wow, you know this film too? Like, you remember this and stuff." So their respect for us immediately went up, and they were able to open up. Like Mars talk about Bruce Lee's, pinching, how he trained and stuff. Yeah, I mean, like, that's not something that a typical Hong Kong interviewer would ask or even know. So to me, that was probably one of the most gratifying, experience of doing this.
Wow. Well, what an honor and a blessing to have both of them involved, and rest in power, Philip. That guy's bad. That's a bad dude.
Oh, yeah.
Philip Cole's a bad dude, man. He's a bad dude. But is Bronson Lee a bad dude? Michael, help me out here, Michael. I never even heard of Bronson Lee until I saw the theatrical trailer for your documentary.
What is he doing in that picture, just to make sure what's going on here?
That's from the trailer.
I think he just got hit in the head or something like that. He just got.
Or he's got to pull something.
Well, Frank will tell you his real name.
I don't know who this is.
Okay. And actually, it's he's also you guys seen the Octagon with Chuck Norris?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah,
Chuck Norris's brother.
Oh my God! Wow.
Everybody would get names. Kurata was Bruce Lowe, I think. Actually, right? Wasn't he Bruce Lowe?
Kurata was Bruce Lowe. Yeah.
Right.
He didn't even know it. He didn't know he was Bruce Lowe.
Yeah.
Wow. I had to throw it out there. So were there a lot of Bronson Lee movies? Or
there was one. That was the only one. But I loved it. It was such a great name to tie two of the classics together.
Oh yeah, the audience got a kick out of it at Comic-Con. They were laughing when Bronson Lee was playing. They were busting up. But I love Enter the Fat Dragon. I still have yet to see the Donnie Yen one. I know that's not a remake; it's its own thing. But Enter the Fat Dragon, I love that movie. I wish there was a Blu-ray release of that. I really.
Yeah, you got to check with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers.
Yeah, they have it.
Film.
Believe me, we wanted to get a hold of it. But
let's go, Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
everybody watching, spread the word.
It is. It's one of those. There's only a handful of intentional Bruceploitation comedies. That one being the most. Dragon Lives Again is another one, but that one is just so. That is Sammo paying his homage to Bruce Lee, but also kind of punching the Bruceploitation, the factory at the time in the gut a little bit. So,
and again, that's the beauty of these films. Like Michael said, this is a comedy. But still, the kung fu is not parody; it's real kung fu.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in many cases, this was, and we both agree that this was probably the best Bruceploitation film. As we mentioned in the documentary, yeah. Because we talk about the worst Bruceploitation film, Game of Death, and the best Bruceploitation film, which we all felt was Enter the Fat Dragon.
Well, speaking of Game of Death, Frank, I have a lot of friends that seen Tower of Death first. Then they saw Game of Death, and they're like, Tower of Death is the shit. Like they love Tower of Death more than Game of Death. So
yeah, well, I can see why. I mean, first off, when
they love Bruce, but the movie,
right?
The fight scenes, they like Tower better.
There's probably almost as much Bruce in both.
That's right. It's true.
But yeah, I think that's a good one too. That's one of those movies, Tower of Death, kind of along the lines of Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth. It was the same director, actually, where there's a certain tone to it that you literally can sort of sense the passing of Bruce Lee and how sad everybody is that he's passed away. I mean, there are a few movies like that again play into the other chord why I think people go back to them. It's almost like you watch the movie as if it's there's even a spot in Tower of Death where it lapses into one of the characters dies in the movie, and it lapses into a sort of homage to Bruce Lee, because it's supposed to be Bruce Lee who passes away in Tower of Death. And it's almost like they're stopping the movie in the middle of the movie and going, let's do an homage to Bruce Lee and then move on, and I think for that reason. And then you got Yuen Woo-ping doing the fight stuff, and Roy Horon's in it, who's, another person we interviewed for the documentary. And
who also passed away.
Yeah. Who,
like Frank was saying, legit fights. Legit fight scenes, man. Yeah.
That was in the Arrow Bruce Lee box set. There you go. This was not completely sold out, I heard. So yeah.
Am I good or am I good or am I good?
You are good.
And both I believe there's two different versions of the remastered film.
That's the
remastered Tower of Death in there.
Yeah, there's only 4 versions on that disc, but the Korean cut, the Hong Kong cut, international cut.
And Frank and I talked about this on our commentary, because we got to do one of the commentaries on there, but they are very specifically different. You've got the Korean version, which doesn't even want Bruce Lee involved in the film. It's all about Kim Dae-jung. So then when you watch the American and the international, or more, the Hong Kong releases, they're trying to make you think Bruce Lee is in the beginning of it. And so they even have different shot scenes for the one. And Roy Horan told me that Insigniu thought that they had a bunch of fight scenes from Enter the Dragon that they were going to use in this film. So you can see where he thought the fight scenes were going to go by the way he structures Kim Dae-jung's wardrobe and the sets, because there's a whole sequence in the Korean version that they left in where he's in the tunnels fighting guards wearing Han's gis from Enter the Dragon. And, it's cool. It's a cool movie with a really cool history.
Yeah, I got to see the Korean version for sure. I got to get that box set. Everyone out there in the world has bought the box set because it's amazing.
I don't have it.
I don't have it either, man. Frank's got like 30 copies that he's hiding from us.
Look for me on eBay.
Oh, shit. eBay. There you go. But let's keep it going. But yeah, Bruce Liang, man. This dude is a bad dude. And of course, we all love him in Kung Fu Hustle, of course. But he's a bad dude, man. How was it interviewing him?
Oh, he was great. He was good. Like I said, he was the first one that we interviewed for the documentary, and I didn't know what to expect. And because I never done artist interview before, and he turned out to be so nice and kind, willing to talk for hours. He just said, ask me. The moment we sat down, he just said, ask me anything. He said, ask me anything.
Nice.
And I told him, I'm not going to ask you any personal question, but I'll ask you about movies. And he just said, ask me anything. And so he talked for 3 hours, and he was very kind. He said he's really appreciative that after so many years we still remember his movies. I mean, he said, everybody just knew me from Kung Fu Hustle now, but to have somebody come up and ask me about these movies that I made when I was young is pretty amazing. He said, and so
watching him in the old Golden Harvest movies, even Shaw Brothers. I mean,
Hapkido.
Hapkido. He's great.
Hapkido,
and
classic.
And he is, like you said, he is bad. In fact, I would almost put him up against anybody because his skill is actually like top tier level, and you can tell. And I think I've even heard a few stories where some people are really still feeling it from some of his impacts of his shots. But he's and of course he's in The Dragon Lives Again, which is one of the top pinnacle Bruceploitation movies. Yeah. Which, by the way, will be getting a touring and a new restoration. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that.
Mm-hmm. Copy that. Bruce Lee.
Oh gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Frank and I, one of the things that I know Frank and I loved about Bruce Lee, to be honest with you, he was the one that we could not get 6 years ago for the documentary. And a lot of people don't know this. The documentary was already cut and ready and had been submitted to film festivals by the time he came along and finally said, thanks to Frank's like beating it up for forever, finally said, okay, I'll see you. I'll interview with you guys.
Yeah.
And so there was a little bit, we were all kind of like, damn that Bruce Lee, finally, we were like, oh, scared we're going to lose him.
Yeah.
We got to see him. That dude was so cool, so nice, so kind. I know we keep saying this about these guys, but it's been true. We're not doing it to pamper him. And the great thing about him was he remembered each movie. Because you talk to Bruce Lee and even Dragon Lee, they were sometimes being hustled between set to set. They didn't even know what they were making, but he remembers each and every film. You could say, what about Enter the Game of Death? Or what about Bruce Lee's Greatest Revenge? Or what about this? And he goes, oh yeah, I shot this here. We did that here. So that was a real great thing about Bruce Lee.
He has a photographic memory, man. He remembers every movie that he made. He's like Michael said, just give him a title, he tell you all about that film. And like I said, and again, he was the reason why this film took so long to make, because we were holding out for him. We first saw him, we approached him all the way back in early 2017. And then I bumped into him at the Hong Kong Film Mart.
That's right.
In March of 2017, me and my wife, Vivian, who's also, a co-producer on the film, we talked to him we tried to persuade him for an hour trying to do the interview.
Wow.
He kept saying, later, now is not the time, blah, blah, blah. And then we even said, well, you know what? I mean, at the very least, can you just do an audio interview? Like, just do audio.
Right.
He thought about it, and you can tell he hesitated. It's almost like he wanted to say yes. And then he just said, no, let's later. And then, so every few months, me and my business partner in Hong Kong, Jeremy, who's again another producer, we would just chase him regularly. Say, hey, we're still interested in doing an interview, blah, blah, blah. And he said, later, now is not the time. And then all of a sudden this year, like Michael said, we're ready to submit the film to Tribeca for submission, and we basically kind of gave him the last, like we gave him we messaged to him. We basically said to him, like, look, this is the last chance. You know, if you don't, you're not gonna do it. That's it. No more. You know, we're not gonna bother you anymore.
Right.
This is their last chance to be involved in this film. And to David's credit, he cut. You know, he he took out that segment where we would have put Bruce Lee in it had he not been involved. We sent it to Bruce Lee, let him watch it. Was it when we told him? So you know, in case this is what we have for you. If you're not going to be in this, he liked it. He liked that footage that David edited together.
All right.
And that's why he said, okay, well, let's do it. And everything was like arranged in 2 weeks. From he saying yes to us getting him in Hong Kong took 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
And what was even cool about that in this sort of a Philip Coe style event, when we went out there and we were interviewing, he brought his little entourage, his wife, and a couple other people with him. One of the people he brought with him and had a mask on and was helping bringing tea to everybody. And I started looking at Frank. I go, Frank, I think that's Chang Dao. If anybody knows who Kong Do is, Chang Dao is known as. He is like Philip Coe. He is the bad guy in every movie.
Yeah.
And I'm going, that's not him. Frank's going, I don't think that's him. I go, I think it's him. And I was remembering last time when we were going to see him 7 years later, they said he's in China with Chang Dao. Like they were mentioning that they still work together. And I thought, and then sure enough, he pulls his mask down and Frank and I were like, that's him. And we missed an opportunity because we should have interviewed him. I think. I mean, everybody was in a hurry. We had to get through because he would have been. But you'll see pictures of him. Great guy, super nice. I got him to sign my posters. Him and
nice.
Bruce. It was perfect. Yeah.
Oh man, how epic is that?
Yeah.
But I'm so glad it worked out, and you got Bruce Lee to be in the documentary, and I can't wait. Can't wait to watch it and to hear what he has to say.
He was the last obstacle, and so it was my personal mission to get him. You know, and I told David, I said, I'm not going to give up until I get him. And
right.
So to be able to finally get him for a documentary is like, oh boy.
Nice. Copy that. Yeah, awesome. The more the merrier. Plus, it fleshes out the documentary, making it even better. And we have a documentary question here, Michael. Will it be screened at the Vancouver International Film Festival?
I don't know when.
There are some. We haven't announced all the festivals yet.
Okay.
But I can tell you that there's a likelihood it'll be in Canada. I just can't say where yet. Pretty soon.
Okay.
But right now we've got the UK coming up. They just announced France and Spain. I think are the only other two that they've announced right now. But or no, that's not true. Austin, Texas.
This
but
is
yeah,
amazing.
It's coming. I just can't say yet where, but
okay. Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop. Michael will keep me in the loop. I'll keep you guys in the loop for sure.
Yeah,
that's amazing. All over the world, man. Keep it going. Keep it rocking and rolling. More people can see it and appreciate these movies. But yeah, speaking of keeping it rocking and rolling, what? Michael's boy right here. What? Dragon Lee. Look at that.
It took us a while to get him too. We were using a Korean intermediary in Hong Kong, who was again my Hong Kong business partner. He works with my Hong Kong business partner. So it took some time for him to finally convince Dragon Lee to let us interview him. And when he said yes, he was telling us he had 1 hour. We'll give you 1 hour. So wow. I told David and Michael said he said yes, but he will only have 1 hour. But then I guess Dragon gave them more than an hour.
Dragon, cool Dragon was cool. In fact, Dragon actually, you go as customary there. That was just actually taken a month or so ago because I went back and was with him at the screening of the movie.
That's Asia premiere,
yeah. Yeah, but again, I can't tell you. I mean, it's just talking about it. I'm trying to be cool and be all, but I mean, it was like the fanboy came out of me. Meet these guys, I melted. That was the first time we met him, and when we went to what Frank was talking about, he actually refused the money. We were getting ready to pay him money. He's like, no, it's okay. He just had such a talking to us. I gave him, and both times I've gone back there, I've given him tons of posters that I've had of his movies since I was a kid.
Yeah.
He just fawns over him, and it's great. And he's I went to dinner with him and his family, and he just kept calling me your brother, you're my brother. There was one time where we were walking to the restaurant, and he was going to meet us there. All of a sudden, I'm hearing yelling in the street. I'm hearing Michael. I'm turning. There's Dragon Lee driving in his Mercedes, and I'm going, Dragon Lee's calling me out. I love it in the streets of South Korea.
Oh, that's
anyways,
awesome, man.
Great guy. Yeah. It's he was another. Thank God we got him. And it was funny because I was actually, before meeting him, I was hearing all these rumors. He was like the most mysterious of all of them. Like people going, "Oh, he's in the mafia. He's like this, like the South Korean mafia. He's like this." And I was like, we all were nervous to go talk to him. We're like, just everybody be cool. Maybe nothing will happen to us. We'll get out of here alive. And he ended up being the most jovial, kind guy you ever met.
Awesome. That's how cool is that, man? You live in the dream, Michael. You're living the dream. You and Frank, you're both living the dream. Yeah.
It's sad. I'm actually ready to die now. I mean,
don't say that. We need you. We need more great content. We need more great content. But speaking of great content, let's take a look at this real quick.
이거 사진 한 장 찍어야 돼. 네. 그럼 박수를 치라고 못 하겠어요. 왜냐면 사진을 찍어야 되는데. It's not looking. So it's like looking over there. 오. 오케이. 오, 좋아. 다시.
Don't try to kick Dragon Lee.
Well, the clip doesn't show up, and then we pose again, and he throws a punch in my face, so he got me back.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing that for sure.
And I'll say that that's not in the documentary, but you will at some point see it in some home media version or another of something. But it's why I wanted to bring this up is a little tease of it. He starts talking about his career and being away from his family, making these movies. He literally breaks down and starts crying on stage. I mean, it was so emotional for him, and everybody's like putting their. He loves his family, and I think he was just feeling like he put so much into his career for a while, and it was just to see that humanity of him, and because just picture him as, like we said, this big, muscular, powerful Bruce Lee type guy. He really is he's a real sweetheart. Even his son was telling me, "Oh, my dad, he's a softie. He's a softie."
Yeah, and that's also another reason why Bruce Lee also left the filmmaking. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it because it's a documentary.
Oh,
again, it's for family reasons. He has to stop. He has to stop at the height of his career.
Wow, is that why he wasn't in Clones of Bruce Lee, the movie, or is that another reason?
The movie, The Clones of Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
Well, actually, he was still working after that. He was supposed to be in it. They were trying to get him to be in it. There's an advertisement for them when they were going to production in the variety trade that has Bruce Lee in the announced cast. But no, he just it was, as Frank says, you'll see in the movie it comes up. He had some hardship in the family, and he left. He had a hardship just doing those movies. I mean, he told us off camera there was a couple of sets where he was getting his life threatened to finish movies, So
oh my God,
I don't think his experience of doing movies is quite the same as everybody else. Like he's if you watch Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth, there's a scene at the end of the movie where he's playing Bruce Lee, and they're talking about how they're coming up with all these scenarios. Well, what really happened to Bruce Lee? And they kind of give you a couple different scenarios, and one of them is he's still alive. And he's going off, and he's going to return in 1983. And there's a shot of him. He's got like a hobo stick and a pack, and he's like walking off into the forest. But that image of him is so much who I see him as now. He's the guy he trains people in a park. He's got a physical therapy studio by the park. Yeah, that's Frank and I when we went back the second time to just go hang out with him. And he's just like, he is the recluse, and I think he loves Bruce Lee, but I don't quite get the same feeling that he loved the movie industry like Bruce Lee and Dragon Lee.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was taken advantage of too,
Wow. I did not know that. Wow. Got to watch that documentary. But he has so many fans out there in the world, and thanks again for you guys doing what you're doing and putting this together. He now knows, there's so many people out there that love what he's done. They appreciate what he's done. And that's what it's all about. And, it's a great thing you guys have done here. This right here, I love pictures like that.
Oh, yeah. There's the whole gang on the right side. That's Congo right there. Yep.
On the right.
Oh, love it. Love it. Yeah. Yeah. And again, love that. There's the Queen. There's the Queen. There you go. Got the Queen. Shout out to the Queen there on the left. Frank there. But yeah, this is what it's all about. Everybody coming together, working hard, putting something together so that everyone can enjoy something special. And this documentary is special, man. For people who have seen it, I'm jealous. People who have seen it have told me about it. I'm like, shut up. Stop spoiling it. But Samurai Guy, I'll get to it at some point for sure. But congrats on the success, both of you. But now we're gonna say, oh wait, hold on, man, I got really excited there. I gotta show Michael because he's here.
God, I got excited. Something was going on.
Really quick, it's short. Really quick before we get to House of Fangs. Here is a little snippet of the audience reactions from Comic-Con.
Oh yeah,
clips. It's really short. All
right, cool.
So I'm going to show you 2 brief clips from the documentary. You guys are the first ones that have seen, we're going to see this outside the 2 screening that we have. So we're trying to cover all the topics, not just the clones, I mean, the main thing is to get all those 4 major clones, and we finally got all 4 of them, and after all these years. So, but we also try to cover other subjects. So the first clip is about Bruceploitation.
Black Bruceploitation.
Black Bruceploitation.
Enter Jim Dragon Kelly.
Jim Kelly, c'était vraiment, les films de Jim Kelly étaient vraiment le cul entre Blaxploitation et Bruceploitation.
No, you stay here till I get back. Do those dishes or something.
They're done.
Black Superman of the martial arts, star of the famous Enter the Dragon. Jim Kelly is as cool as 007. He's James Bond and Bruce Lee rolled up into one cool package of dynamite.
Le mec déjà était sorti tout droit d'Enter the Dragon, un physique écorché comme Bruce Lee. Il a repris un peu les attitudes. Ils l'ont affublé dans certains films. Mais ça fait rien de jogging rouge avec une rayure là sur le côté, qui n'est pas sans rappeler la combinaison jaune à rayures.
I like to think of you as my white knight.
Not the white light, baby.
Je crois même qu'ils m'ont fait faire du nunchaku dans un film. Donc finalement, ils ont fait des fusions de genre et de genre, mais en termes de production, c'est intelligent.
Okay, class dismissed.
So that's about Blaxploitation, Bruceploitation. So
les mecs, c'est des jolies idées ou quoi? Il se bat contre un mec avec un turban, là, il a des points.
即係嗰個人啊，好多蛇嘅，佢嘅蛇魔嚟嘅。呢個人啊，佢未拍過戲嘅，佢係一個道具佬嚟嘅，未拍嘅。不過佢咩冷錢？你揾一個識拍嘅，唔係俾人哋比較好。所以呢啲。
Even though it's being done in the guise of a Bruce Lee film, uses all the same tricks that all the Bruceploitation films use to make you think, am I seeing Bruce Lee right now?
There's a cardboard cutout of Bruce Lee stuck on a mirror.
The double sits down in front of a mirror and they literally just take a cardboard pasting of Bruce Lee's face, like a photograph, and stick it on the front of the mirror and he's just behind it. They're like, what?
Here we go! Everybody settle down.
Yeah. Oh man, there was so much more, but that's all I could get together at this moment. But yeah, man, they laughed, they had a blast, they had a lot of fun. And speaking of, here's the proof right here. Here we go. Chong said he was actually there at the panel. Look at that.
And that clip also showed me that I got to get some progressive glasses, man.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good, brother. Frank and the Fat Samurai Guy were super nice.
Thank you.
Yes. He was hoping Michael was going to show up. Look at that. Michael, we got to get you on next year's panel, brother.
Yeah,
I never ever gone. I would love to go. Frank,
next year.
Yeah, he just
let's do it.
Frank said I have to sit on the floor though if I do it.
Oh damn.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. But yeah, congrats on the success of the documentary. I had to show a few clips there. They loved it. They loved everything that Frank showed at Comic-Con.
That's cool.
But what is going on, man? I heard from a little birdie. A little birdie was like, something badass is on the rise. It's festering. It's coming up. It's coming out. House of Fangs. What? Classic old school kung fu stars coming back, baby, to face some of the new school today. The whole concept is amazing. It blew my mind. And I was like, man, like, we got to make this happen, guys. Everybody watching right now. The whole stream, if you look below me, all right, the Indiegogo campaign information has been running the entire stream. We've been doing this episode, and we're going to keep it running until we're done, baby. But hey, how did this idea come about, Michael?
I've had this idea for a long time. I just didn't conceptualize it exactly how I wanted to do it. But I had this script that I had started that wasn't necessarily intended for this. But then as I progressed towards it, and I realized how much I liked it, and I started getting some investors involved, I was like, well, I want these main core of characters, which are these Chinese characters, to be. I want to go back and get all these 70s stars that I grew up on that are still viral and active, and Angela Mao Ying and Dragon Lee and Bruce Lee and all these people. And every time I'd go meet them for this, when we were shooting this documentary, I'd say, listen, I got a project I'm working on. Would there be a chance you'd be willing to do this if the money was right, the timing was right? And most of them were like all open to it. But when you come back to America and you're in Hollywood, even if you're going, hey, we want to do this movie, and they're like, yeah, but we can't afford to pay for these guys to come over. You got to work visas. You got to fly them out. You got to offer them a nice chunk of money to bring them over. So what we're doing is we have an Indiegogo campaign to try to raise the money so we can afford to bring all of them out to do the movie, because
yes,
I want to do this film. We're going to do this film, but the only way that we can do it is if we raise the extra money to get them to come out. Then we can get this film. So Frank and I, we're going to be producing. I'm going to be writing and directing. We're working we're going to be working probably with Severin. We're going to be working with a company called BCI. Got a number of people that are going to work to try to pull this together. But we needed to go to Indiegogo to raise the money to bring. So if you want to see somebody like Dragon Lee or Bruce Lee or Don Wong Dao or Angela Mao or any of these people come back in a very cool story. It's a really cool. I know I wrote it and you're like, yeah, of course you think it's cool. But I'm telling you, it's a great sort of, it's Dragon Gaiden meets John Wick meets the Expendables. It's good. It's got some really fun stuff. And I just think what's going to make it is having these guys make this one reunion, these guys and gals making this one last reunion, this one last swan song, and bring them. Maybe we'll do more. Who knows? But at least this once,
Yeah, I mean, the amazing fact is, like, these people, like these actors that Michael's trying to get together, they all worked together back in the 70s. They were together, so they knew each other, so to speak. So this will be a kind of cool reunion for them as well. But yeah, I mean, the great story is great. It's almost like a little Western thing, and I love Westerns. So it'll be cool to see this film, become a reality. Yeah.
But what we really need to do is just get people, even if you're not going to invest in it, even if it's not your cup of tea, please just share it everywhere. Tell your friends, tell anybody, because the only way we can make this happen is if we can just raise this extra money to bring them in, because otherwise I got to crack my bank open to do it myself, and then I'll be broke.
Yeah, you know how high interest rates are these days.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, the story, hey, I think it's cool too. So coolness confirmed, because Samurai Guy thinks it's cool, baby.
I'm telling you. I mean, can you picture? I'll give you a little thing, a restaurant run by Angela Mao, who's got the waiter is Bruce Lee and the cook is Dragon Lee, and little do you know what their past is. I mean, it's going to be cool. It'll be great.
I mean, I would lose it if, like, Alan Musi came walking in and had a little throwdown with Dragon Lee. I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Angela Mao is already a restaurant manager, so to have her,
I know, exactly.
She's already a restaurant manager in real life. Her restaurant in Queens, so to have her in the movie playing herself, I mean, oh God, can you imagine how great that would be?
Yeah. But before we take a look at the Indiegogo, so that way you guys can see all the bonuses, the benefits that you guys get for supporting it. Remember, this just started. Let's check out the concept trailer for House of Fangs, baby.
Taking shots at the enemy, I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too toxic, need to take the noose off. And you cannot save me, cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You are not as tough as
we're not as tough.
Don't wanna test your luck with me. I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who were have-nots, who are not as tough as me. Don't wanna test your
Yeah, look at me and Frank all ready to go. We synchronized, Frank. It was too badass. We had to synchronize together. But yeah, let's take a look at it right here. I'll do a little screen share action. Got me pumped up. Trailer got me pumped.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's what the job is.
Woohoo. Yeah. Let me go ahead and put this on the bottom there so we can blow it up, make it a little bit bigger there for everybody watching. There we go. Everybody watching, this is where you need to go. I put a link in the description box below of the video as well.
Thank you, sir.
So you can check it out more in detail, but we're going to go over a little bit. That's right. We got to get this up a little bit more, get it going, because the more you add, the more bad it'll be. What's up, Frank?
I said we got to keep it moving.
Got to keep it moving.
Share it.
Got to keep it moving.
Get a hat, get a shirt, get a Blu-ray, whatever you can. Come on as a producer. You want to be in a fight scene and get beat up by one of these guys? Those are some of the bigger perks. But come on.
Did you guys just hear that? Did you just hear that? You can get beat up by some of the cast. Come on.
I think I'm going to pay for one of those perks. I want to get.
This is amazing. Yeah, this is amazing. But yeah, Michael, talk a little bit about it as we scroll down here. So we have $10.
Well, again, like these independent films, it's you raise a certain amount of money, and then the producers just want a certain, one or the investors are looking for one or two names to anchor the film to. But for me as the creative fan of these movies, I want to see these guys come in because I believe in the end it's going to be them that's really going to make this thing stick out. And Andy, I've talked to Andy, and Andy would love to come on and do the choreography, and Andy and I can do the seals together.
Amazing.
So having, and it's great because Andy's been working in the States for so long, but he's got his ties in Hong Kong, like Frank. And so to have him be there and be able to work with them, it'll make it a lot easier too, because the communication will be easier, and that kind of thing. So, this would be one of the, I've got a handful of projects right now that are like in the scheme of development and pre-production. And to be honest with you, this is the one by leaps and bounds that has me the most excited. So I'm really hoping we get to pull this off.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you guys just heard what he said. All right, Andy is going to help with the fight choreography, so we got to support this. Every little bit helps, guys. I mean, this is already mind blowing.
And I told Michael, if we get this going, we can even try to get, we talk about having these, the Asian kung fu stars to play the Asian part, but for the American part, we'll try to get people maybe even Cynthia Rock to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and there a lot of what happens is with this, I've been in this business a while now. I've made, and Frank has too, we've made friends with many of these people. So it's a little bit of a hey, I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. Let's come on and do this. We don't have the bankroll of Warner Brothers to make this movie, so we're gonna do it, but we're if we can, go to these people, and I've got a number of people in mind that I'm going to go to, and I've already kind of talked to a few of them, and so we can make this happen. We just got to get this the second step, I should say, done.
Right.
Otherwise, the film will probably still happen. It's just I want to bring these guys in to make it what I want to see it made into, and Frank has been such a, Frank's another one of those magicians. He's been with his other projects, so I know having him on this one, he'll be another magician for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm already excited, man, just for the fact Angela Mao wants to do it. You guys heard that, right? Everybody watching right now. Angela Mao is in, she wants to be in this, and he's doing the fight choreography.
The scheduling will be the other fun part, of course, because once with the money's in, everybody's agreed the money. It's then we're gonna have to arrange schedules, but this is why these things can be so costly sometimes. It's not just pay $500 on a plane ticket and pay them $100 a day. It ends up turning into quite a handful.
Right. But we got Dragon Lee here. That's right. The owner. I like that. Angela Mao as the owner. There you go. There you go.
Just like how she owns Nambae Ho in Queens. Yeah.
Dragon Lee as the cook. Brilliant. It's brilliant.
Oh, his part in it's great.
There she is.
We met. I took Michael to a restaurant to see her.
Frank took that picture.
and I took that picture. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. If I ever go back to the East Coast, I'm going to the restaurant. I gotta do it. I have to do it for sure.
Oh man, best
there
food.
we go. He's in this too?
Oh, we'll get him. Yeah.
He's actually the only one, and he actually only lives a few miles from Frank. So
Yeah.
he's like the only one in the United States.
Oh,
how exciting!
10-minute drive from my home.
Yeah. No, this guy's amazing, man. How
he's
cool!
great.
That's amazing. Oh, look at that! Oh, you guys were hanging out, eating, jealous.
Yep.
now look at the styling and the profiling of the hat. Now look at it.
He is. Let me tell you, if there's any one of these, all these people we're talking about, he is the most charactery of all of them. He is like so crazy. He's so fun to be around.
Oh man.
He's the curly. He'll be the curly of the Three Stooges.
Oh, it's perfect. And then you got Bruce Lee's the waiter. Perfect. Yep. I love it. Doing some chucking right there. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The dishwasher. Okay, this is amazing. This is amazing. Bruce Lee is the dishwasher. That's perfect. But here's the big one. Bruce Lee. I mean,
he's my dream to play this part.
He's a dream. He's a dream cast. Yeah, he's like a dream cast.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like huge. From what you discussed, that you didn't really have the greatest, time filmmaking.
But when we went there,
but he's coming back.
Time, right? And he said I would leave the door open for the right project. But he's
okay.
I think for him, it's more about. I think he likes the idea of like having this one memory of a movie that might be something that could be really like, I embrace this,
This is amazing.
This is how the fans can give Bruce Lee a happy ending. Not that he's going anywhere, but in the film industry anyway.
Yeah. Come on, fans. We got to make it happen.
And hopefully there might be a chance for us to go and actually see Bruce Lee in person again. So by then we'll talk to him again about this project.
No more going,
So technically, not including the documentary, if he comes back for this, he's kind of in a way coming out of retirement.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, for him. Yeah. I mean, Bruce Lung obviously still works, and
right.
Dragon Lee actually even still does a little work, and Bruce Lee too. So Angela Mao and Bruce Lee would be the two. And if we bring Don Wong Dao in, he would be another one that hasn't been working for a while.
Oh, this is amazing.
I mean, Bruce Lung is 72. He's making 2 movies in October. Can you believe it?
Wow. Amazing.
He's still very popular. Bruce Lee is still very popular in China. Again, thanks to Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah. But we got to make this happen, guys.
Yep.
If he's willing, we got to do this. This is just a love letter, just the classic Kung Fu movies in general.
And you get people like Frank and I on it, and you have like Andy who loves these movies too. It's the whole idea is to get with people that actually know them, know the movies, know the modern audience, and be able to tie it all together. Because you could pull them in, stick them in something, and it just might be a waste, But I guarantee you, how the story is structured, this would be. I'm like praying. I'm praying.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, this is so good. This is so good. I'm trying to find the here we go. House of Fangs is an action film that will update the classic Hong Kong style kung fu movie in modern America, bringing back to the big screen some well-known stars of the past, fan favorite movies to be paired up with contemporary action stars and filmmakers of the West. So that, again, for those of you who are just now showing up, that's the basic plot synopsis, the idea for this awesome idea. And right here, rounding out these Eastern legends will be a crop of current Western action stars of the last several decades to create a memorable cinematic clash, merging the cultures and generations in an action film to combine the best of both worlds. Think of names like Dudikoff, Mark Dacascos, Scott Adkins, Dolph Lundgren, and Lorenzo Lamas, sharing the space, screen, and blows with these pioneers of Kung Fu cinema. Our goal, once financed, will be to assemble the most original cast and performers we have seen in a very, very long time, spanning generations and cultures across the world. But this will all partially depend on the enthusiasm of you, the fans and supporters. Yeah,
so I should have had you read the trailer. My goodness.
Hey, I am available for any future.
I can say, great voice.
Yeah, man, I'm always here for you, brother. I'm here. But yeah, again, guys, this is important because you have actual people, like real fans, like Frank and Michael, who know they know their shit. So this is this is going to be a good movie. This is not like someone tosses random idea to a whole bunch of producers and directors and filmmakers that don't know anything about the classic kung fu cinema.
Just like the line that you see in Comic-Con all the time, like for fans by fans.
Exactly. So, but yeah, this is perfect. What would you use Miles' restaurant?
No, we'll be shooting this most likely either here or in Arizona, depending because of the location. But yeah, that we would have to bring everybody's got. That's part of the expenses. We got to bring everybody to California.
Right.
No way can we shoot at her restaurant. Phat. Her restaurant is so goddamn busy. When we went to her restaurant on a Sunday, she's not even available to chat to us until after 3 o'clock. That restaurant is nonstop busy from the time they open till 3 o'clock.
Wow. Amazing. I'm not surprised. Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised. But it was a fun thought, but who knows what will happen in the future, right? Yeah. If you guys could film there in the restaurant, that'd be fun. But here you go. Here's some perks, guys. Beggar so perk, but yeah, check out these perks when you guys get a free chance. Look at this. You get a House of Fangs shirt. I would love one. It's got to be like 5X though, Michael. Sorry.
One special for you.
Yeah, woohoo! I'll wear it and sport that for sure. So
please, everybody, just check it out and share it. I mean, that would be
that's huge enough too, guys. Official crew shirt. You get a crew hat. Look at this behind the scenes content. The Blu-ray of House of Fangs. Look at that martial arts book and script. Look at that. Making of the book. There you go. Personal video from a star. I mean, this is all amazing stuff. Guest host on the Clones cast. There we go. Autographs. Look at that. There you go. And a thank you credit. So you can be in the end credits at the end.
You can.
Oh, look at that. Amazing and worth it. Oh, you have a video call with Michael Worth himself.
Why not?
Definitely worth it.
Hell yeah. Limited signed poster. That would be amazing. Mm-hmm. Yes. Associate producer's role. Check that out. They can watch a fight. Look at that. Explain that a little bit more detail for people watching.
That's just we're going to have a perk where you can actually, you don't want to necessarily be on camera, but you want to kind of come out and be one of the VIPs and spend a few days. We cover your hotel and the food and all that, and just you can sit on set and watch and be a part of it.
Look at that, guys. This is amazing. You'd be a walk-on, even more amazing. There you go.
Yeah, if you don't want to fight, if you're not somebody that's skilled, you want to just come and be in one of the scenes where maybe Dragon Lee serves you a bowl of noodles or something.
Be an assassin, guys. Come on. This is amazing.
How cool is that?
Come on. This is amazing. Be an assassin. Executive producer's role. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, that one's a big one.
Yeah, that's the big one. But even if it's big, generous, or if it's small, it's still generous. Even if you share it, it's still generous, guys. But we got to make it happen. House of Fangs, baby. Let's do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. And I know I could talk to you these gents all day, but it's, what is it, 3 a.m. where you're at, Frank?
I'm on the same time zone as you, man.
I'm just messing around with you. But this was such an honor to have you here, Michael and Frank. Always an honor to have you back here. But yeah, make sure you guys check out the documentary. That's right. Will there be a physical media release?
Yes.
Look for physical media towards the end of the year. But yes, you will see one.
Okay. I will be buying it. That's right. Yeah.
And not only is there going to be a physical media release of this, but you'll be seeing it surrounded by other good things. Let's just put it that way. So just keep your eyes peeled. This whole thing does not end with this being released on home video. So plenty more to come. Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, make sure you guys check it out. We're good.
It's under construction. It doesn't have the links to buy them yet, but it should within the next week or two. Bruceploitation.net.
Okay.
Is where you go, and you can get links to buying the art book, which is all the posters that from these I've collected for at least the first part of my life that have now been scanned in a coffee book, so you can look at each poster in a full page.
Yeah.
And And then we'll be also linked up to the book that I've been working on for 12 years that'll be available at the end of the year too. So.
Oh, amazing. I'm looking forward to those books for sure. But yeah, this was a blast. It was awesome. Michael, make this your second home, brother.
Thank you.
Second home. Yeah.
That.
Don't go anywhere, Michael.
The car is his first home.
Drive. LA, man. What do you expect? You can't do anything.
Oh, don't go anywhere, Michael. But all you guys, thanks again for hanging out with us today and going back in time, talking about action movies, classic kung fu, martial arts, all that good stuff. Share House of Fangs. Get that campaign out there. That's right, and support it. And if you're new here and you've enjoyed yourself, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the Old Samurai Guy. And we will see you guys on the next one. Before we wrap it up, Frank, someone asked a question earlier. Can you spoil anything about the Bruceploitation box set coming, movie box set coming? Can you give us a little thing, anything yet?
No.
Or not yet?
Don't get in trouble.
Okay. No. Okay.
I don't want
tried.
to get an email from Severin and say you're fired. No.
I can tell you this, though. Frank and I are working on something. Let's just put it down.
Nice.
I can tell. I can also tell there'll be tons of extra. We actually shot quite a lot of extra features while we're in Hong Kong for the box set. There'll be some nice little like location stuff.
Yeah.
And I literally just walked out of the office yesterday with some really interesting things that will be following with it. So it's cool. Yeah. Great. I'm telling you, this is a great year to love these films. This is the birth year of Bruceploitation. The year Bruce Lee died is the year. So it's the 50th anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So no, you will not be disappointed once this box set comes out.
Promise.
I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Guarantee it.
I guarantee it. You like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Oh. All the younglings right now are going, I have no idea what that's from.
They're too young. Too young for that.
It's all good, but I got it, Frank. I got it. But yeah, a lot of fans, a lot of people I know are really excited for this box set. They keep asking me. I'm like, I don't know, but I tried. But you gotta have to wait. You're gonna have to wait. That's right. But thanks again for watching, guys. Michael, don't go anywhere. Frank, don't go anywhere. See you guys on the next one. Take care.